The following program has been produced by Metropolitan Community College.
And greetings from the set of Metro and More at Metropolitan Community College, serving more than 50,000 students with over 120 programs at our 8 locations in the daytime, evening, weekends, or online. Hi everybody, welcome back. Kent Pavelka, your host for Metro and More. More of what you need to know about Metropolitan Community College, your life, your path, your choice. Our topic today, we're going to spotlight, again, Metropolitan Community College's continuing education offerings, the non-credit classes, and we're going to talk about some classes about hypnosis that are taught by class instructor Aubrey Nye. Audrey, back on the program. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Things going well?
Yes.
Very good. By the way, this is a series of programs about non-credit continuing education classes at Metro, and if you want to get more on what is offered, the how to register and when these classes are offered, they're on the website at mccneb.edu/CE. What is hypnosis? I think a lot of people are probably a little confused, Aubrey, because of the comedy clubs and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a serious form of what?
Yes.
Explain it.
Yeah, and also with the movies and things that you've seen where they hypnotize people to kill people and do all these strange things, people really have a misinterpretation of what it is. And what hypnosis is, essentially, is taking the brain waves into a certain state. And we have 5 different brain wave states. So right now, while we're talking, we're in a beta state. That means that your brain is thinking all the time. And gamma is when it's higher, and that's if you're hyper alert and you're really working on something. So when we go into hypnosis, we have to take the thinking down so you're not thinking as much, because if I tell you right now, it's like I had a weight loss class the other day and say, okay, stop eating like you were and eat less, and your brain is going to go, okay, sure, yeah. But what's going to come in is your critical thinking, all these other thoughts that say, yeah, but maybe another time, well, I don't really want to now, but I really should. So what that means is it's a certain level, like this is beta, that's your normal state. Well, that's why things don't change, because you have critical thinking going on. So when you take the brain waves down into a lower state, which is alpha, most people have heard of the alpha state, it means that the thoughts slow down. So then instead of you're going thump, 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 thinking every thought, then you're just thinking slower, and the thoughts are coming less.
Right.
And so then there's a delta and a theta state.
Which are even lower.
Yeah, I mean, the theta, pretty much the deep theta, where the brain, it never stops thinking, but if it goes down to a place where it stops thinking, then you're dead. So, I mean, that's the lowest state.
Yeah.
The brain just isn't thinking. But people or yogis that go into deep meditation, that's where they're in the lower delta and theta state, because they're not thinking anything.
What is sleep? Sleep would be probably the next lower level, right?
Sleep, well, essentially we want to get the brain waves down into like a delta or a theta or low alpha in sleep. So the thing is that if the brain is thinking, the suggestions that we put in hypnosis aren't necessarily going to work. So we want to get the brain to a place where it's not thinking.
Right.
And essentially then you put in a thought and the brain just goes, yeah. It's just like kids. Kids are in hypnosis state. The brain just goes, yes, okay, I'll take that. That's real. Because there aren't other thoughts coming in that are saying, no, this is nonsense, it's never going to work, blah, 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 blah. So the point of a hypnotherapist and what I do with the different classes and when I work with people is to facilitate their brain going into that lower state. And so that's where when you see comedy workshops and they have these balls, that's colored balls that are going around and around, well, then that particular thing is meant to slow the brain waves down. And one of the things where, like in the past, you've seen they have a watch fob, you know, and say, now you're getting sleepy, and just watch this going back and forth. What happens is the eyes become tired. And one of the keys with some of the tools that I'm going to show you here and that hypnotherapists use are things that cause the eyes to be tired. And when the eyes are tired, then the brain
slows down.
relaxes. Yeah, exactly. So it's one of the keys that we use in order to get someone, to facilitate someone going into that lower state. We need to get them into an alpha state in order for the suggestions to go in. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. And we should mention that Aubrey not only teaches these various courses on hypnosis at Metro, but also is a hypnotherapist. So you mentioned the tools that you brought along. Let's take a look at them. This is what facilitates getting to the point that you just described, right? It helps. It's
right.
It's an aid.
This is the first thing I do, is I have them look. It's either this type of thing. So if you're sitting, like looking at it, and we're going to have you in hypnosis by the end of this.
Yeah.
So if you're looking straight at that.
You know, I remember a lava lamp I used to have that
Yeah.
used to kind of do this.
Well, actually, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look, it depends on what state you were in then,
Yes.
too. You might have used some
Yeah.
other things to facilitate. But,
Yes.
But with hypnosis, it actually is where you just look at this, and eventually your eyes become tired because you're trying to follow the ball, and then this is in a dark setting.
Okay.
So you may have a light on this, and then that accentuates the mirrors even more, and that reflects on the retina, and then the retina becomes tired. It's just like if, you know, when you're looking straight at the sun for a little, you know, you're not supposed to, but the eyes become tired because of the light. So this is one of the things that are used. And in comedy workshops, they usually have like a really big one like this with
Yeah.
flashing lights, and this is turning around, and it puts people in hypnosis.
Well, but you know, those comedy things, I think a lot of times the participants are going along with the gag too, don't you? But
Actually,
that's another discussion.
Well, actually, that's a point there, because the thing is, the hypnotherapist or the hypnotist there knows that anyone who does not want to go into hypnosis is not going to raise their hand to begin with.
That's true.
So he's got anyone who raises their hand, he already knows those are people who, even if they weren't in hypnosis, like you said,
You got to have motivation. You got to be
yeah.
motivated, right?
Yeah, because some people aren't going to go up there and they don't want to quack like a duck. And
But you know, that's a good illustration of. I was just thinking about when I go fishing. You know, you sit there and you look at the water, and it kind of does the same thing to your.
Yes.
The way the water moving and you're.
yes.
You know, put you in that place.
Yeah,
Kind of.
or if you're sitting behind a car and their blinker is going,
Yeah.
it can actually put you in hypnosis.
Yeah.
The flashing, if you just start fixating on that. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can use.
Isn't it important for someone who is motivated to be hypnotized for reasons that I mean, there are some reasons you want to be hypnotized, go through hypnotherapy, but isn't it important to be, for starters, that I'm cognizant that my brain does work on different levels? I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand, or even cognizant of that you know, that their brain does different things and they're having conversations with themselves, etc.
Right. And that's something I always explain, and most hypnotherapists, I mean, that's part of what we're taught, is to explain to people how the brain works. That this is not just like magic or a fluke or something, but it's actually very scientific. And we go into hypnosis. There's a psychiatrist who wrote a book about all the different times during the day that we actually go into that state. But two of the main times are when you wake up in the morning and your brain is still, it's not thinking yet, and the body is relaxed. Brain relaxed, body relaxed. Or right before you go to bed at night, if you're really relaxed. And the thing is, even with infomercials, you know, they know this. So you're watching TV and you're really tired and you don't want to think anymore, and they go, all right, call now in the next 5 minutes and you can get blah, blah, blah. And your brain's going, oh, yeah, I better do that.
Well, that's called,
because it's in hypnosis.
Yeah, another similar term would be you've been mesmerized.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're tired, you're not thinking. It's the same thing they use in cults, where they don't let you sleep for a period of time. And then if you don't, and same thing that's actually happening to people these days, if they're sleep deprived, they are actually going into a certain state of alpha hypnosis.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest to you, when I broadcast a sporting event on the radio, Not from my point of view. I'm in that hyper concentrated, but from the listener's point of view, I wonder if they're not a little bit hypnotized by during that hour and a half that they're kind of really focusing in on what they're. I mean, they've certainly left themselves. They're in this they're in this place where they can't see, but they can see.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
On the radio, where you're describing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a good point, because that's one of the tools that we use to get people in hypnosis, besides these things, is to have them visualize something.
Theater of the mind.
Yeah, if you actually just reading a book where you start seeing everything, so they start seeing the plays and all of that, they do. It creates one focus.
Yes.
That's the point of hypnosis, to create total focus. And so once you get that focus through their visualizing,
then you whisper, "Quit smoking."
That's right. So you could just do that.
Yeah.
On the air, just put in these little blurbs for the
these
world to stop these things.
Subliminal little messages.
Probably wouldn't go too well. But that is another thing, is in fact subliminally, it's the same thing. I've got a tape that I am using now on wealth, and it's like you hear these sounds, and it starts out, it says...
Cash register.
Yeah, right. No, you actually hear the sounds that take the brain waves, which is this other thing. Let me explain
Yeah,
this.
what's this one?
This one is similar to this. And this is one of the main ones I use, and I have it in a dark room where I have people with hypnosis, or if I'm doing a class, I make sure the room is dark. And so all you'll see are is the design thing, the different colors and the different design that's going on.
Yeah.
And I have people focus just on that. And so as they start focusing on that, then it's like visualization that you were talking about too, or this, then their eyes start becoming tired. And I tell them just to go into that light and to watch the different colors and designs, and then their mind starts relaxing.
How do you know when you've accomplished that with them so that you can go to work on them?
There's different indications. Each person is different. There's more than just this I use. There's other things, other inductions. Well, there's this too.
Yeah.
Is another.
What's this? Now I'm familiar with the headphones.
Yeah. Why don't you put these on?
I'm going to put that on.
You can give a demonstration.
All right.
We'll put you in hypnosis and have you
quack
like a duck.
You want me to put these on?
Yeah, put those on.
Right. How do I look?
You look great. You look like you're ready to take off into space.
Oh boy. Now I'm hearing this real low frequency, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a kind of a heartbeat, slow frequency kind of rhythm.
That's what they are using that now in just CDs, but also this is called a sound and light machine, and those sounds are meant to take the brain wave. The brain imitates the sounds, and those particular sounds are what associated with a lower state of brainwave. So it will take the brainwaves down into the alpha, delta, or theta, or it'll rev them up into a beta, which is a high alert. So the glasses are going along with the sound that you're hearing. And with both of those on, it just takes you into a really, depending on what you program. With this, you can program all different kinds of things. So you can, with these, you can look out and you could be working on, I love going to the door with these glasses on, because people are going, who's this weirdo? But you can actually concentrate, read. If you're writing a book or something, you put these on and it will take your brain waves into the focus state. And the focus state is what hypnosis is. And so then you can see, but your brain is actually, it's keeping your brain in a certain state that whole time.
What'd you say?
What did I say? I said you're going to get up now and you're going to quack like a duck.
No, I can. No, I understand. I understand. So, but when
you might want to take those off before.
I kind of like it.
Well, you kind of like it. Okay.
Does this? What do you think of the look?
I like it. I like it. In the dark, it'll look even
better.
But
you don't try to talk to people while they're hearing this, right? I mean, I can hear you if I. But it takes me away from focusing on what I'm hearing.
It depends. I actually don't use this with clients.
You don't?
But some people do.
Well, they wouldn't talk to them.
Well, they'll turn the sound. Oh, we've got the sound way up. No wonder you're yelling.
Oh yeah. There you go. I hear
it.
So now it's a little more sedate. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the sound, you're hearing the sound, which is doing what it's supposed to do, and then you can talk to them and then put in the suggestions. Or you can use this to just like this and this to take the brain waves into that particular hypnosis state and then put in the suggestions. But what you were asking, how do you know?
Yeah, the signals you have, yeah.
Is there's lots of tests that you do. And for instance, in order to check and see if somebody's in a particular state, I'll just say, I want you to just imagine from the shoulder on down that this is a piece of cement. Your arm is a piece of cement and you can't lift it. And then I'll say, try to lift it. And if they're in hypnosis, they won't be able to lift it. Or, I mean, in the old days when I first did it, I would do this needle thing just to check. You know, not really bad, but I'd just say, okay, now your arm is completely numb. And then you take a needle.
Yeah.
And I say, do you feel anything? Or you pinch it, you know, where you know normally this is going to hurt. No, I don't feel a thing. And you know they're in hypnosis. But there's other indications too where they won't move. Their arm, if you lift it, will just plop back down.
Body flaccidity, or how rigid the body is or not.
Yeah, actually, if someone's in a deep state, even if they had a fly in their nose, they wouldn't reach up to shoo it off.
Yeah.
Because it's so relaxing.
I like the illustration of being similar to when you're reading, or right before you go to sleep, or right when you wake up. Because, again, if you haven't thought about it, you are totally into that imagined place that the words are taking you.
That's right.
And
you're in a susceptible state, highly suggestible when you're in the hypnosis state.
Right.
So a lot of stuff that we believe is actually coming in at different times when our brain is really slow and we're listening to movies or commercials or advertising on TV or other people, and those thoughts will go right in when we're in that state. So we're being programmed all the time.
Right.
And if you're aware of it, that's, you know, if your brain is in that state, then that's where you turn the TV off. I mean, or you don't want to be listening to a violent program before you go to bed at night, because that becomes part of your thinking.
Right. On a less than totally conscious level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we use all of these tools and this approach to get people into a hypnotic stage to do a number of different things. You do weight loss through hypnosis, smoking cessation. Those are pretty. What is it you say to them when you get, for those two examples? What do you try to instill in them when they're in that hypnotic state to get them to act on the ambition to quit smoking or to
well, actually, with the weight loss,
lose weight.
My particular program is I have three main things. I just had a class the other day, and it's not about deprivation. It's about eating less, which we know if everyone just ate less of what they're eating, they're going to lose weight.
And we talked about that last time, didn't we?
I think we might have mentioned
it. Yeah. I don't know.
Something on that. But yeah, eating less, eating slower, and being consciously aware of what...
How satiated you are or not, or
well, that's one of them. See, the thing is, we live unconsciously a lot of time. And we're not really, we're into the future, we're into the past, and we're not into this moment in what we're doing. And in eating, you watching television, and you're just stuffing that in your mouth. And people say, well, I eat because of pleasure, whereas in reality, a lot of what they're eating, they're not even aware of. And then they get mad because they have all this extra weight. So by putting that in the hypnosis, that you are consciously aware. So after the hypnosis, if it takes, which I've got a really, really high percentage because I actually use some other techniques too, they will simply find that all of a sudden they're eating and they're full. Yeah. And they eat less.
I was just thinking regarding weight loss, another thing to maybe that would be helpful to make people aware of when they're in a hypnotic, suggestive place is that when they do jam all this food in, and the feeling they get, this is not a good feeling. This is a bad feeling because that's when you quit eating after you've eaten unconsciously, is when you get to that
where it's bad.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I use a negative program with, if it's like chocolate, and I've had people who come in just
I hate
for
this
that.
taste, or-
Well, no, what I do is I have them imagine, I did this with a lady with Marlboros. I said, what is the worst, yuckiest thing you can think of that would actually make you sick to your stomach? And she said, well, it was her husband who shot deer, and then she'd go into the shed where it was, and it was stripped meat and blood and everything, and she said she would just about vomit when she'd see that. So I have
Associate chocolate with that?
Exactly. You have them see the one thing, whether it's chocolate, cigarettes, then you see the other thing, and I actually get them to a place where they almost get sick. And then what happens after that is every time they think of that particular thing, they start feeling sick to their stomach,
Wow.
and it keeps them from doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's lots of different things that you can use, and same thing with smoking. I'll use that with that too.
Yeah.
A lot of times that visual, associating it with something that's really negative.
Talk about using hypnosis for, and how, you know, I know you cover this in your classes at Metro, but regarding hypnosis in past life.
Regression, yeah, that's a good one.
No, no,
I know. And you know, there's lots of questions on past life. I happen to be one of those who believe in it, and I did from the time I was a child, and it was before I started doing drugs, actually. Just kidding. But I did, and so it's something I've researched, and I've also had some experiences.
Well, it's the foundation of a lot of religious
Exactly. Oh, in
practices,
India,
too.
it's commonplace. You know, in different Eastern countries, that's not even a question. It's not even thought of as strange. It's just,
Right.
And actually, there are books done where they have found people who were able to validate who they were previously. And in fact, I think it's Ian Stevenson who would find the children who knew who they were, and they would find that actual person, look at the autopsy report, see how they died, and what he would compare is
DNA?
no, actually, because it wouldn't be the body itself.
Wouldn't be.
That body had, like, one kid was shot, or in his past life shot with a rifle, and so he had all of these marks of the bullets on his body, and this child who said he was that person had these birthmarks in the same place.
Wow.
So at any rate, with past life regression, you know, there's a lot of question on that, but I use that, and what I was explaining, if you quiet the brain down, and that's how we get to memories in this life with hypnosis, because you can't remember everything. I mean, and you know, if I asked you to remember April 6th at 4:30 when you were 5 years old, you can't remember that. In hypnosis, you can, because it clears the brain of all this thinking, and it will go back into the memory and find that place, and you'll be right there at that particular time. So with past life regression, you know, whatever this is, you know, that's a whole other, I mean, really, whole other session in itself. But we want to go back before this life to get a memory. So that's where we use hypnosis and some other techniques in order to take the brain back into past memories.
What do you say to people who say this is just nonsense?
Oh, well, you know, it could be. The thing is, we don't know for sure, except that there now is a lot of information, a lot of research that is being done, especially with children who are remembering past lives. That there's no prompting, they're finding out there's no way this 3-year-old.
And they actually validate it somehow?
Yeah, well, this is the one way. Ian Stevenson, who really, he did so much research, and he's dead now, but his thing was he wanted people to he wanted documentation on this, so it would give people hope in realizing that they don't die, and that their life actually does go on, and their spirit does go on, but also give them hope as far as people who have passed on, that they actually still exist in a different form.
As I say, that's a
So,
tenet
yeah,
of a lot
yeah.
of religious belief.
Yes.
Well,
There's a lot with that.
This gives you an idea of some of the ways hypnosis can be utilized, but what about, you use it for, it's used to encourage people to learn how to really relax too, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, see, again, once you understand what hypnosis is, where I explained to you it's taking the brain waves down, well, that's the same thing as meditation. And when you go into a state of meditation, if you really relax, the whole point of meditation is to stop thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you closed your eyes right now, I told you to stop thinking,
mm-hmm.
it would be probably 1 to 2 seconds before a thought would come in. So
If that long.
Exactly. And so that's where the hypnosis, then, you can train your brain to relax, to go into that state of meditation. But that's where it can help people who are sick and are in pain. It really facilitates lessening of pain, lessening of anesthesia when you go into surgery, because it relaxes the brain.
Everything is a matter of semantics when you're discussing it, but I would assume that this is real close to what a lot of people would describe as their experience with meditation, too.
Yes, it is. And in some, some places, some people who teach yoga would say that meditation and hypnosis are not the same, and they're completely different. But I actually disagree with that. Well, and that's a whole other thing. But essentially what you're doing in meditation is the same thing you do with hypnosis, which is to quiet the thoughts of the mind.
Right.
And when you quiet the thoughts of the mind, then you relax, because you're not thinking about 5 million things and all these things that are stressing you out.
The real trick is when you quiet the thoughts of the mind, you recognize when you get to that point that you're still thinking something.
Yes, yes.
There's still always something there unless you're unconscious.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about your CDs. I know you've got a bunch of them. Stop Smoking Hypnosis, Aubrey has that.
And then this one is just to take you into hypnosis.
Yeah,
it's actually used where you can put your own suggestions in, because you just have to click it and turn it on, and that's where I take you into, with different visualizations and different things to relax.
So,
but this can also be used for pain or relaxation by just playing it.
Now there's a Stop Smoking one, and this one is weight loss hypnosis.
That's my mom from World War II. It was a picture she sent my dad in World War II.
Wow. Wow, that's cool.
That's kind of cute.
So,
and so this, actually the CD in itself has helped a lot of people without even doing the class or private sessions with it.
And where can folks get these?
And you can get them on my website at personalcommunications.net.
Yeah, and this one is on relaxation.
Or just Google Aubrey Nye, because there's it'll all link to my different websites.
Yeah, Aubrey, NYE is the last
and
name.
the relaxation CD, people have used that in middle school, on airplanes, in the dentist office, because it includes hypnosis in it, but it also really relaxes.
Now, how do you present all this at Metro in these continuing education non-credit courses? I mean, each one is a focus on
a different class.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the hypnosis, I actually teach people how to hypnotize themselves and hypnotize someone else. And in the class themselves, they go into hypnosis, so they notice it, they are aware of it, but they're also aware of how to do it. And then I have them work with somebody else and put somebody else in hypnosis.
How much do you hypnotize yourself?
Oh, I use it on a constant basis. The sound and light machine I use every day when I want to take a nap, so I can set it for like 15, 20 minutes. I put it on, immediately takes my brain waves down, I'm asleep, and then it revs them up and I'm wide awake.
That's what similar to the noise, the white noise machines people use at night. Well, we just scratched the surface, but I appreciate it. And again, if you want to know more about Metro Continuing Education non-credit, check it out on the website. Aubrey, thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll do it again, and thank you for being with us on Metro and More. Our goal is to better acquaint you with the mission, leadership, and the reach of the college. I'm Kent Pavelka for Metropolitan Community College. Your life, your path, your choice.
This has been a MetroVision production produced by Metropolitan Community College.